Out of the sky. Could be a stock market report from America, or the price of eggs in Brussels, or a short story by a writer in Australia, or a newspaper from China. In the long term, it's difficult to see how the old-fashioned ways of passing information on are going to stay in business. An Englishman's home is his castle, but the castle is just about to be connected to the world. Already, we live beneath an invisible web of messages from the communication satellites in space. And soon, we'll be putting a special aerial on the roof, and the knowledge and entertainment of 5 continents will be able to pour straight into our living room. Radio, television, Channel 4, Channel 44, Channel 444, all we can afford. Because things like the picture postcard from the neighbours on holiday will probably get to us along the telephone cable, because we can answer back. No need to go out to the pillar box on a wet night with electronic mail. Keep the slippers on, send it from an armchair. And it's more than an easy way of sending letters as well. It's instant and it's universal. You want a public opinion poll? No problem. You press a button. It's a few years off, of course, but the technology to do it is here now. There's a world of possibilities waiting at our front doors. Some of them here, some of them we can't even imagine, because the faster things change, the faster things change, and there's no telling what the boffins will cook up next.
Page forward.
This is a taste of things to come, but you could have it now and never have to leaf through a cookery book with buttery fingers ever again. A video screen in the kitchen connected to a computer that stores your recipes in its memory, and a microchip that recognizes a few simple voice commands.
Page forward. Thank you very much. You could have a computer program to teach you how to cook Chinese step by step, and when you'd burnt it, you could use the computer to order a quick replacement from the local takeaway. You could check the special offers in the supermarket automatically. You could get yourself reminded that you're out of ground almonds. You could get a calorie count on every meal if you ever need to go on... Hey, get out! If you ever need to go on a diet. And some do, don't they?
I was very good last week.
How good?
Diet. Tom. Record.
Oh, naughty, naughty.
Well, let's see what I've got tomorrow anyway. Tom. Diet. Forward.
Oh.
Breakfast, orange juice. Lunch, orange juice. Supper, orange juice. Tea, coffee, without milk or sugar.
Oh, no cake for you.
You know, this milk bottle isn't any old milk bottle, you know. This is the perfect milk bottle. It's as light and strong as it's possible to be, because when it was being made, a television camera and a computer watched and measured to the nearest gram every drop of molten glass that fell into the mold. It's the perfect bottle, and therefore, they say, easier deliveries and money off for us.
Well, that's all in the factory. But of course, that's a different place. I did this. Here, well, me and the computer. It's an orchid grown in the greenhouse with the computer controlling the temperature, the ventilation, the watering, and the light. So, nothing died when we went away on holiday.
Of course, you have to have all the motors and the control units to work it. But there's a microprocessor chip as the brain of the washing machine. And there's another opening the garage doors, and there's lots in the car, of course, and there's another running the central heating.
And there's one doing the timing on the cooker.
That's right, and there's the burglar alarm, ready to make an automatic phone call to the cop shop or to the fire brigade if it smells smoke at the wrong time. And it can warn of accidents to the old.
We're all of us going to be old one day, won't want to be a burden on our relations, won't fancy an old people's home. We'll fight to preserve our independence and stay in our own familiar surroundings as long as we can. There are new radio paging systems coming on the market now to bring peace of mind to those who live on their own and their families. I've come to see my grandmother because she is using this new system. It's a marvellous system because it's very simple. She's wearing the bleep around her neck, and if at any time she wants help, it might be that, say, you'd fallen, or if you had heard noises in the night like you did the other night, you have only got to press the button. That activates the local computer by means of a radio transmitter in the hall, and the computer will automatically send for help. The computer can actually handle 4,000 of these beepers in any one district, so you get quite a good coverage. And the computer will automatically ring the people that you have asked to be sent for if you get into trouble. So it could be the police or me or the neighbour or whoever. Have you rung it yet?
I have now.
Oh no.
Mobile Warden 35.
We'll probably have the police round in no time.
Hello?
It's not done with mirrors, it's done with lasers. It's a holographic birthday card. It was Peter's birthday a few days ago. We gave him this. Watch.
Gallops away to where John lay.
Now this is just a novelty, of course. But when I go out to the shop for my new hi-fi setup, sometime within the next year or two, that's going to make what I had before look like a toy, because it'll be a digital system which works in computer language. The cumbersome, delicate stereo LP is on its way to join the wax phonograph in the museum. The new compact digital disc is 5 inches across, with an hour of music on it. And it doesn't matter if you scratch it, because it's digital and it's scanned by laser, like a new publishing medium, the video disc. Now look what you can do to this. Draw a nail across it, and it still plays. With the video disc, you don't record any more than you record on an ordinary commercial LP. You've got a video cassette recorder which does that. But you can do all sorts of other things with the video disc. You can, for example, go in slow motion forward. Or reverse in slow motion if you prefer. You can even go extremely slowly or still. And the other thing you can do is to search. And it's this searching facility which allows you to find your place anywhere you are and makes it ideal for education. Perfect your golf swing or do it yourself or cookery. It can all be done and followed easily thanks to the video disc.
Schofield has been blind since birth. She's a doctor of computer sciences and a freelance consultant who travels throughout the country. But she works from a microprocessor-aided base at home.
English, not gibberish. And if we're lucky, we get a result.
Wonderful. This is a demonstration of the VersaBraille, just as you typed it in Braille. Well, now, how do you check your work? Because it's come out in print, which you can't see.
Well, needless to say, it's all microcomputers again. Well, microelectronics anyway. And I use a reading machine.
And this is it? How does that work?
Well, this actually is a very important aid and quite historical in the sense that it probably marks the changeover from more conventional technology to the new micro electronic and microcomputer-based aids that are now around. And in fact, this came on the market in 1970 and has stayed as it is virtually ever since, although its insides have changed a little.
What have you got in your
Now,
hand
this
there?
is a small camera. It works in a similar way to a small television camera. And one scans across the print while feeling the images, actually of the shapes of the letter, not of the braille, under the index finger of the other hand.
When Peter was small, he played with these. They were a toy. And then he discovered they were helping him to learn to read. So it is with microcomputers and the revolution in information technology. It's begun with play, Space Invaders at the pub, and with circuits and chips on the kitchen table. The hobbyists are the forerunners of the microprocessor revolution, the nutcase micro-geniuses who have to do their thing, and never mind the dinner getting cold. People like David Woodfield and his friend, Thumper.
Thank you for turning me on.
What is it?
Microprocessor controlled robot mouse for finding its way to the centre of a maze.
I know I do not get lost.
It's got to find the shortest route. It's got quite a bit of thinking to do.
Thinking? I mean, is it intelligent then?
Only in the way it's programmed. It's quite intelligent at solving mazes.
So it learns?
It learns as it goes through. Each time it runs through the same maze, it will find a better route.
I could do with a dress. My wheels are feeling me. Okay, and I went straight into a trap.
We have much to be grateful to the hobbyists for. The little man pottering away in his garden shed building a time machine. The tongue-tied freak who can't get a girl because he's got a mind full of differential calculus. No country could possibly pay for the accumulation of research experience and criticism that these nutcases provide. Their value is hidden and incalculable. Computer clubs are springing up all over the country like toadstools on a wet, warm night. Those who have the most harmonious relationships with the new technology are those who are being brought up with it. Robert Max is only 14. Young enthusiasts like him are our hope for the future. This isn't much more than £150. 20 years ago, I couldn't have bought computing power like this VIC-20 for under £250,000. With the right add-ons, it can control my central heating if I wanted to, it can teach Peter or play games with him, can act as a home word processor or play me at chess. It wouldn't beat Bobby Fischer, but it beats me. This little machine is the letter on the brick, and the letter on the brick makes the writing on the wall. And what is written on the wall is this, that in the future, more people are going to be able to work at home than ever have since Britain was a nation of farmers and hand weavers. And the loom in every cottage will be a computer.
I can find, first of all the back orders, and then ask it for all of the back orders with covers. And it will search through about 100 back orders and find Kango Wolf, want a silent type cover. We can move on and find another one. We've got Munford here who wants an Epson cover. So within an hour of the goods coming in, if we go through the system, we can send them out.
What's it like working in the back room of a house in London?
Well, it certainly has many advantages. I mean, there's no travelling or anything like that. It's very convenient from the point of view of having jobs which may be long-running jobs that you can set in motion on the machine. For instance, statements, they take 4 hours to run. you can set them running and go and have a cup of tea, well, you can go to bed, basically.
Okay.
You can disappear for the night while it is printing out statements. At one stage, 7 or 8 of us working here, and they were living here. The business now has split off into 2 parts. Up in Lancashire, they've now got 10 or 12 people. Still, they're working from home. They've got a large bungalow, and half of the place is set aside for stock and offices and things like that. We're still down here, using the place as, a home and as an office. We use our own equipment to talk or communicate with the Apples up in Lancashire, so we can send them information about our stocks. They can send us information about...
How is that information sent? I mean, is
Right.
it...
Well, it just comes off of the machine where it's been down here, we're using it, and then every now and again we decide to use the telephone system using the modem, which transmits it up to Lancashire.
Can we see that working?
Control, shift 1, file transfer F. I'm going to be on receive. Right, I'm in receiving mode.
Right.
So we're able to tell them what we would like sent to us. We're able for them to tell us what they would like us to send out to their customers, because we've got the stock. And so we can generally keep communications going using the Apples here and the Apples there and the telephone lines.
So really the secret is the technology means the location doesn't matter?
Right, yeah. It's made a tremendous difference. You are able to operate from the back room of a terraced house.
And in another terraced house in North London, the young composers Richard Attree and Alejandro Vignao are creating the computer music for our video production.
It would go bow, wow, wow, in the middle, right? So you'll have the one that is bow, the one that is wow, and the one that is wow, wow, wow. Closing and opening.
Yeah, so wow, wow, wow must be like that, must be up and down.
Right, so it would look like that as well, if I can draw it.
They begin by creating their sounds from nothing, by drawing with a light pencil on a screen. Again. It's almost, in fact, like having a small orchestra on every key, isn't it?
It opens up a whole new area rather than replacing what's already there.
New orchestras, really. I mean, the
Yes,
idea is
new
not to replace the existing orchestra, but to create a new orchestra, a different one that can be shaped for each piece independently. So every composition could have a different sound quality, a different orchestra, in fact.
So what orchestra did you pick for the piece that you wrote for us?
Well, we've got it here. This is not the full orchestra, but this is the beginning of the music. And we've got 3 sounds which we've synthesized from scratch in the machine. In other words, we've produced, as we've showed before, this bottle-like means bottle-like. Well, when you create a sound, you have to name it somehow. Since it's a sound that is unique, well, you name it according to what it sounds like to you. For example, this sounds to me a bit like a bottle. If you compare that to, for example, the new sound, the one we've called new.
Oh, yes, it looks different.
Right. That one has all sorts of spikes, which means that it's constantly changing throughout the entire sound, as opposed to the other one, which was just in the very beginning. Now, if we connect that sound to the keyboard, the third sound, the balafone, if we go to, well, you can display 3D.
Put it on the keyboard.
That's right. And that's the other sound. It has an African wooden quality to it. And that's a 3-dimensional display of that. You see how complex it is.
In the memory of the machine, we've got the music for the beginning of the piece, or half of the layers of the piece. All I have to do to play it, we could play it on the keyboard if we wanted to, but all I have to do now is just press one button and hopefully it should start playing. There it goes. This is the theme music for the film. It's being played from the memory of the machine now. See, no moving parts.
And as you can make computer music in your home, so you can paint computer pictures.
The North Herts District Council has developed its own private Viewdata system. Simply what it is, we have a £3 million leisure centre which is recently opened. And as part of the development of the leisure centre, the council agreed to provide a computer service for booking and for information. The social impact of this type of information for the public has got to happen. It might be 1 month, 1 year, or 5 years even. Without question, people will wonder how they existed without it. I mean, we already have the makings of any Viewdata network, principally because a lot of people have telephones and most people have television sets. It's a very, very simple link between the two to enable you to get information when you want it, how you want it, and in the comfort of your own home.
So little Jonathan Barrett just had a conversation with a computer from home. He booked a squash court and he had it confirmed. And his father might just as well have booked a holiday abroad after having seen a video picture of the hotel bedroom and a view of the beach. Or he could have gone shopping, first having checked his account at the bank. But more important still, using a system such as Prestel, one can get access to many different sources of information. For example, you could press 882. As we can find a list of information technology events now, there's no reason why in the future we shouldn't be able to have access to thousands of data banks at home and overseas, provided we're connected to the network system. One day, we're going to be able to summon up information from all over the world into our own homes. This, too, is information out of the sky. It's the Birdwatcher's Yearbook, a substantial volume every 12 months, produced by one man and his wife in their front room. John Pemberton has collected the material together, written it up, laid it out, and with the help of his word processor and a top-quality printer, produces camera-ready copy. He's a whole independent publishing house in his spare time.
Well, there it is. And I would guess that if I'd sent that to the typesetter in the usual way, that would have taken 10 times as long.
What did it used to be like, the business of producing the Birdwatcher's Yearbook?
Extremely time-consuming, extremely arduous, almost a marriage destroyer or a household breaker. I mean, you can liken the first edition of the Birdwatcher's Yearbook, by the time we finished it, to an endangered species. If we'd not had this new equipment, then it would have died. The problems involved are largely of updating, of gathering an immense amount of information from a huge variety of sources, processing that, reorganizing it and formatting it in such a way that it can be presented in published form for people to access easily. And this enables me to do it. The Birdwatcher's Yearbook is contained in there. What that is, in fact, is a database. It could well be, with the development of technology and computers in the home, that we could be an information provider on such as Prestel, which would mean that instead of people buying a hard copy Birdwatcher's Yearbook, they'd be able to key in on their keypad at home, and this information would come up on their television screen.
But it wouldn't feel the same for you, the editor, would it?
It wouldn't feel the same for me, but my belief is in the value of communication, of transmitting information. As a librarian, librarians didn't invent printing from movable type, they didn't invent paper, but still we use them in order to communicate information from ages past to the present and into the future. We didn't invent these, but we're the people who are promoting them and exploiting them and harnessing them for use. So I go along with computers. So now I'll be able to work, I'll be able to produce the birdwatcher's yearbook, and I hope be able to do some birdwatching.
Information technology in the home is just about to take off. But if you go up in the air, there's always a danger that you may come down with a bump. There are a lot of questions facing us as human beings and as members of society. If we can work at home, do we want to? Or do we want to keep our homes private havens from the outside world?
If lots of people stay at home, what's going to happen to our transport systems and all those office blocks?
But it makes sense, doesn't it, to save all that journey time and all that expensive accommodation and all that fuel.
But perhaps we need the social contact of going out to meet other people at work.
Can we go on thinking, however, that the be-all and end-all of adult life is to work 40 hours a week?
But if people haven't got jobs, how are we going to support them and give them self-respect? People do need a purpose in life.
Will what we do with our leisure, perhaps, be more significant than what we do for work? Will home education courses, do-it-yourself, arts, the amateur painter, the local dramatic society, be more important than anyone else would have dreamed possible? We've got to ask these questions and try and find the answers. In fact, you've got to ask them. Find out about information technology. Think hard about it. Used wisely, computers have the power to make us freer than ever before, to give us wings. If we find good ways of using technology, the sky's the limit.